G'day guys, and welcome to this business management lesson. In today's lesson, we're looking at key knowledge point 411. That is Unit 4, Area of Study 1, and the first key knowledge point for this area of study. Today specifically, we're looking at the concept of business change. Now, when it comes to business change, this is nothing that you shouldn't understand as someone who speaks basic and functional English. Business is business, change means change. So business change means making a change to your business. A more thorough definition, if you ever need one, might be the adoption of new behaviors and new ideas in a business context. Now, really, business change is something we've been discussing all the way through the area of study so far. There are all sorts of reasons that a business might change. Certainly, you might change things in your internal environment. You might change things that affect your employees, or you might change things externally. You might be making changes that affect your customers or your suppliers. You might be making changes because things are happening in the economy. Maybe the Australian dollar has depreciated in value, or maybe your customers are starting to find better deals with your competitors. Maybe your employees are arguing that the cost of living has gone up and they deserve a raise. Maybe your competitors are trying new things and threatening your market share. Whatever it is, there are all sorts of reasons that you might change things up in your business. Here's an example of a business change that did occur. Coca-Cola in sort of the mid-2010s, 2015, 2016, were suffering a loss of profit and market share. For whatever reason, the market was starting to turn away from soft drinks. This is around the same time that activewear was getting very popular as a style of dress, and people were making more health-conscious decisions. Customers were moving towards healthier drinks, is what Coca-Cola determined when doing some market research to work out why they were losing market share. And certainly their shareholders weren't too happy that the value of the investment wasn't growing. In fact, it was going slightly backwards. And this put a lot of pressure on Coca-Cola to implement some new strategies to try and regain their competitive edge, to regain their market share. And so they introduced Coca-Cola Life, flavored with a natural sweetener, 50% less sugar, etc., etc. Whether that worked to regain the market share or whether the market just swung back again after this swing away from soft drink, I don't really know. I'm not sure we'll ever know. But eventually they discontinued the Coca-Cola Life. And now if you want a Coca-Cola product, you're not going to find that green one on the shelves anymore. Now, I've already alluded to it, but here's just a point to illustrate what I was saying. We've been talking about business change all the way through business management so far. From changes in management style to implementing automated production or other tech strategies, implementing performance-related pay to try and motivate your employees, maybe changing things up. Maybe you're starting to use Maslow to look at how and why your employees might be motivated, to try and identify strategies to motivate them. Whatever it is. Every strategy we've talked about can be implemented. And if it wasn't being implemented and you've proposed implementing it, you've proposed a business change. Maybe you have looked at a case study where one strategy was being used and you're going to argue in an analysis question that they should stop using it and use something else instead. That would be a business change. Anytime things aren't working in your business and you look to implement corrective action to stop something that's not working or to start something that you think might work better, you are proposing a business change. Now, there are two types of business change that you're going to need to be aware of moving forward. That is incremental change and transformational change. Incremental change happens daily. Small, tiny changes that will just adjust the way things are happening, maybe taking steps towards improvements in efficiency or effectiveness. Small things. Perhaps you get a new bucket for the mop to clean the bathrooms. This new one has wheels. That'll help your employees move the bucket without having to carry it. You've removed a lifting action. Buckets of water are quite heavy. Perhaps that was a source of potential injury for an employee. And that's just a small change in your business. Maybe you get a new broom. Maybe you get the machinery serviced just so it's going to be working slightly better now. You change light bulbs before they burn out to ensure that there'll be continuity of light in your artificially lit areas. Whatever it is. Incremental change, small, tiny changes. The opposite of an incremental change is a transformational change. If one business buys out another business and they merge the two together, sack half the staff because they don't need twice the staff, that would be a transformational change. Huge change, sweeping change. If you decide that all of your employees need to come to work an hour earlier from now on, and there's a new uniform, and you're implementing a new training program, and you're updating the pay scales, that's going to be pretty transformational. For the internal stakeholders, that's a whole host of changes that might well have a significant impact on how they feel about their job, how they do their job. Whereas incremental changes shouldn't be that wide sweeping, shouldn't be that impactful. But generally, when we're thinking about change management, you'll want to be evaluating whether or not incremental changes are the best idea to help you achieve your objectives, or transformational changes are the best idea to help you achieve your objectives. Broadly speaking, when you're going to propose incremental or transformational change at one time or another, it'll be down to the consideration of time. If you have time, incremental change is usually the way to go. People don't like surprises, and people get very nervous, very anxious when things are changed around them. If you can introduce incremental changes and slowly march your way to your objectives without upsetting people, the change is going to be more effective. Transformational changes have that kickback. You'll upset a lot of people, probably. People get very anxious when massive sweeping changes are introduced, where it could potentially threaten job security or threaten the nature of someone's job. They're likely to push back. And so transformational changes need to be very carefully considered and need to be used sparingly. If you try and transform your business every 6 months or every year, you're very quickly going to get your employees offside. Now, while it's not specifically named in this key knowledge point, it is important that we evaluate the relationship between change and the achievement of business objectives. And ultimately, it comes down to this. You run your business day to day, and if you are finding that there are barriers to the achievement of business objectives, the easiest way to improve your business effectiveness is to make changes to overcome or eliminate those barriers. The relationship between change and objectives is you can make changes in your business to improve the effectiveness of your business. In summary for this key knowledge point, without any specific case studies to talk about, I've been very general, very broad. It's up to you to now take what I've just given you and try and apply it to any case study that you might be thinking about. Of course, changing refers to adopting a new state, adopting a new way of being, adopting new thinking methods, implementing strategy, whatever you want to say. These can be small, incremental changes or significant transformational changes. And certainly, it's important to understand that change, and certainly the way we'll be looking at it in this area of study, is often in response to data that shows that things aren't as good as they could be. There is some problem in your business. Either there is an existing problem, or you can foresee a potential future problem that would be a barrier to the achievement of business objectives, and you're going to implement a change of some kind to try and increase the effectiveness of your business. That's all for today. See you next time.